Yo, what's up, guys? MMA Prediction Guru here, back again. We're going to be doing another breakdown. This time it's for UFC Vegas 6, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Oleinik. And before we do that, real quick, if you haven't checked out the breakdown for the Dana White Contender Series video, make sure to check that out. It's on my channel already. Check out the video on Odds HQ as well if you want to get more of a betting perspective on it. And make sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, and thanks for all the support, guys. We passed 10,000. We're, really growing really fast, so it's awesome. Really appreciate that. But we're going to jump right into the card here. Al-Qaisi taking on Irwin Rivera. And Al-Qaisi is going to be making history before even earning a victory in the UFC. He's going to be the first fighter from Jordan to get in the octagon. And he's 8-3, but he is riding a 5-fight win streak. Started his career a little shaky at 3-3, but steadied himself now. And he's a counter striker on the feet. He really only throws 3 attacks, really. He throws the lead uppercut. He'll counter with the left hook. He has a good overhand right. And you'll throw those shots in combination. So you'll throw like a overhand right, left hook, and he'll mix them up. He'll throw to the body. He has good defense, and he keeps a high guard, decent distance control. His head movement isn't bad either. He likes to slip and rip a little bit, but he floats his chin when he backs up. He's susceptible to low kicks as well, susceptible to body shots, and he has to be careful with the body attack of Rivera. Al-Qaisi, he isn't trying to strike for long in his fights. His striking is a means to an end in order to get the fight to the mat. He does have 1 KO in his career, and he's never been finished by strikes. He's a very tough guy. You could tell he's very dogged, and I feel like he's a guy that you have to probably knock out cold to get him out of there. But Al-Qaisi's game is the grappling. He's a very strong grappler, really good at timing body locks. He's super strong in those positions. He just bullies guys to the mat. He has good trips. On top, he doesn't have the greatest top control, but he's always looking for submissions. He'll look to progress to dominant positions and finish the fight with ground and pound as well. When fighters stand up, he has really good guillotines, really good front headlock position. I haven't seen Al-Qaisi taken down, but off of his back, I have seen him throw up some really quick arm bars before. He's a good submission grappler. He has good cardio. He's risk averse. I feel he's a decent fighter. He does have 4 submission victories. He's only been submitted 1 time, and it was in his second pro fight. And he's going to be taking on Irwin Rivera here, who did put up a pretty good effort in his UFC debut. He was called in short notice to fight Giga Chikadze. It was up a weight class as well. Pushed it to a decision, and he didn't play it safe. He took a lot of damage. He showed toughness, and now he gets to try his hand at his natural weight class. And on the feet, Rivera, he's quick, explosive, pretty good in and out movement. He's good at darting in, landing a shot, darting out. He's a southpaw. Usually goes first with kicks or flying attacks. Really good low leg kicks. Good round kicks to the body. He'll use both legs to throw kicks pretty fluidly with both legs. And he has a really nice rear leg liver kick. He's finished that, or he's used that to finish multiple people. He'll go high with kicks, and he loves to go airborne, man. He'll throw a ton of Superman punches, flying kicks, flying knees. He'll come forward with some wild hooks, uppercuts. He likes to feint, draw out a counter, and then throw a looping overhand. And he's good at sneaking in punches to the body in combinations. But in his last fight against Giga, he really struggled to close the gap. He just kind of got picked off with knees, with kicks, and really got busted up a little bit. But he did show a lot of toughness. He never took a step backwards, and he really, went in there to win the fight, which was good to see. He is low volume, though. His striking style isn't necessarily the most technical, and he tends to be losing a lot of his recent fights early, and then he finds late finishes. He is solid, and he stays in the fight. He wears on guys and ultimately takes them out. In Titan FC, though, I do feel like he would have lost his last 2 fights if they were 3-round fights. I had both Matt Waggy and Danny Sebitalo up on the scorecards after 3 rounds, but Rivera was able to finish both of them in the 4th. And Rivera, he is a powerful guy. He could finish you. He has 5 knockouts, and he has been put down with punches just once in his career. He showed a really good chin in his last fight. Really tough guy. And he should be improving his grappling. He's training at Combat Club. He's closely training with guys like Herbert Burns, Gilbert Burns. And his wrestling defensively, though, is not very good. from what I've seen. He can be taken down, controlled on the mat. He doesn't really threaten with submissions. Very stagnant. Kind of just waits for a time to explode back up to his feet. I have seen him controlled for long portions of rounds. I've seen him, get taken down and then never stand back up for the rest of the round. He is decent in scrambles. And offensively, he does have a good double leg takedown. He times it well. It's pretty fast. He doesn't really have the greatest top control, though. And, the takedowns do help Rivera because they disguise the body punches. And he's decent at catching guys off the breaks. But he isn't really going to, do much on the ground with you. And he's going to need to have his defensive wrestling on point in this fight. He can't allow himself to get too far behind too early. And this being his second UFC fight, it should give him a bit of an advantage here. He did fight in this COVID era with no fans and everything like that as well. And Al-Qaisi, he may not be the athlete or the striker that Irwin is, but I kind of feel like this is a bad matchup for Rivera. We have a guy here who doesn't throw much volume on the feet, doesn't really gas, and he's looking to take you down. Rivera, I think, is going to struggle to leap in when Al-Qaisi is timing it and trying to go for the takedown. Rivera does have an opportunity to chop the leg, attack the body, wear on Al-Qaisi, get him out. But I just see Al-Qaisi as the superior grappler, and his striking isn't that bad. I think he will just, I don't think he's just going to get overwhelmed. I don't think he'll get tired with his game plan. So I'm going to go with Al-Qaisi to get the upset here, win, probably via decision. And I think this is a really close fight, though, but I think it should be lined a lot closer, and I'm going to go with Ali Al-Qaisi here. And in this fight, it is a featherweight fight. This is actually a fun fight here between Youssef Zalal and Peter Barrett. Youssef Zalal, he's keeping busy, man. This is his third fight in 2020 already, and he's made an impact on the featherweight division. He's knocked off two pretty solid guys, and he's only 23 years old, so he's starting to get a buzz for him as a prospect, and really could raise his stock here if he gets a dominant victory. Zalal, he's very slick. Obviously, nice movement, stance switching, long strikes, question mark kicks. He's always looking to be kicking and moving. He has really nice flying knees, very fast, explosive, hard to hit. And he likes to mix it up as well. He's clearly the superior wrestler in this fight. He has really good level changes. He'll, shoot punches out to distract you, duck under into the single leg. And against Jordan Griffin, he did kind of give his back up a little bit a couple times, got taken down, controlled a little bit, but I thought he clearly won that fight very easily. If you go back and watch that fight, Griffin in the third round, was just trying to hold on to him for dear life. He was exhausted. Zalal was doing a lot of really good body work and just tired him out. Zalal has a really good front choke, which I feel like he has a really good chance to get here against a guy like Peter Barrett. Peter Barrett, he is making his UFC debut. He's had a long layoff here, and he's been vocal about, his frustration regarding not getting a fight. It seems like he's been healthy training this whole time. He has had 2 fights fall through during the pandemic, and I'm sure he's going to be chomping at the bit here to get in here and fight. And he isn't a bad striker, but his movement is a little awkward. He is a southpaw. He throws a lot of kicks, inside leg kicks, body kicks. He has a good straight left hand. He likes to throw a right hook, duck under, roll through, then throw a left hook. He can fall into his punches, though, and really susceptible to counters. He can kind of lessen the power in his shots by doing that, too. He does throw some nice right hook, left uppercut combinations. He throws the uppercut with a lot of heat, and he does have some decent punch power, decent punch combinations. He'll throw some spinning attacks. He's a brawler, man. He's willing to go to war. He holds his hands down. He tries to bait you to trade with him. But I think that could just kind of get him pot shotted from the outside in this one potentially. But Barrett, he needs to get in the clinch here. Throw nasty knees, elbows, make it ugly, dirty box, and just make it a more, ugly, brawly type fight. And that's going to be his chance to win. He does have 7 knockouts. He's only been finished by strikes 1 time. He's not the best grappler either. He's a scrappy guy, and you'll try to mix it up. In his last fight, he was able to use some clinch control time, but his takedown defense is not very good. He throws a lot of naked kicks that get him taken down, and once he's taken down, he just isn't the best. He can give up submissions, doesn't have a good guard. His offensive wrestling isn't that good either. I just think Zalal is the much better wrestler. Barrett does have 2 submission victories against low-level competition. And he's a scrapper, but he does slow down. I would say he doesn't have the best cardio. I don't really see a lot of path to victory here for Barrett other than just landing a big shot, taking Zalal out. Zalal is better everywhere. I think he could get outstruck here. I think Zalal could take him down and submit him. I think that Zalal should probably just go for the takedowns because Barrett is dangerous on the feet. Just try to find a submission. I could see him getting an armbar or a front choke. I think Zalal is going to win a dominant decision here or get a finish. And I'm actually going to predict him to get the finish here via probably an anaconda or a Dariush choke. Up next, man, I like this fight. This fight could be a banger here. Justin Jaynes taking on Gavin Tucker. And Gavin Tucker, he's taken another long layoff, another year away from the octagon. He was scheduled to fight in April, but that event was canceled, obviously. And just hasn't been able to stay active. He's fought just 2 times in 3 years. And he did win his last fight with Sungwoo Choi. He looked okay in that one. He's a fighter who uses a ton of movement, good lateral movement. He switches stances, pretty explosive. Primarily a southpaw. Good jab. He'll throw it to the body. He has a nice 1-2. Kind of leaps in with the straight left hand. He'll leap into a lot of shots. Overhand lefts, rear uppercuts, right hooks. He likes to attack the body. He has some nice low kicks, good round kicks, good front kicks. Doesn't really throw a lot of high kicks though. When he's given space, he will throw some spinning kicks. He likes to slip and rip. He'll try to taunt you and get you emotional. But he doesn't deal with pressure very well. He'll back himself up against the cage. Rick Glenn, was able to cut him off, drop him with a shot. And that's a little bit alarming because Rick Glenn doesn't really have the biggest power. When his movement slows down, he gets very sloppy. He just throws wide hooks, wide punches. Uses a lot of big movements, and he doesn't have the best gas tank. But he does have a solid chin. He's never been finished. And he has 4 KO TKOs in his career, so he is, a little bit powerful. And he was able to put his grappling to use in his last fight. He is a Renzo Gracie black belt. And Tucker, he's physically strong. He's an athletic guy. Good single leg in his last fight. He showed good top control. Decent body locks as well. Pretty good knees, elbows in the clinch. On top, he likes to get the back, beat fighters up until he can lock in the choke. I don't really think he's the greatest guy on the ground, though, in terms of MMA because, guys have been able to stand up from under him and guys have been able to really beat him up on the ground as well, like Rick Glenn. And he did eventually get a 3rd round submission in his last fight by rear naked choke. But I don't see him being able to take down a wrestler like Justin Jaynes in this one. But Justin Jaynes, he leapt onto the scene. He had that devastating knockout of Frank Camacho. I actually picked Camacho. Man, I had a lot of people coming after me on that pick. But, he took the fight at short notice, went hard, very quickly got that first round finish, less than a minute. And that's kind of Jaynes' MO of late. He's won 5 consecutive fights in the first round, 12 first round finishes. And he likes to come forward, stay in fighters' faces, counter, good movement. He kind of likes to slip and roll, counter with big hooks. Really nasty left hook. He'll throw a nice left hook to the body and to the head. Very good at feigning to create openings for his punches. Very dangerous. He has 1-punch power. He'll throw some heavy low calf kicks as well. Doesn't keep a super high output, but what he does do and what he does throw is dangerous. It's powerful. If he catches you clean in the first round, the fight is over. I mean, he has 8 KO TKOs all in round 1. He's never been finished. He's a pretty good chin, pretty good head movement. He's hard to hit. He's willing to take a shot to give one. And late in rounds, he's actually good at turning up and, throwing a little wild, just giving the judges a reminder like, hey, I won that round. But Justin Jaynes, he's a strong grappler, former college wrestler, solid jiu-jitsu as well. He likes to strike, but when he wants to, he could duck under, hit that double leg. On top, he has good control, good back-taking ability. He has big ground and pound. His takedown defense is also pretty solid. He has a really nasty guillotine, good front headlock position in general. Snaps fighters down, and he controls them from there. He's good at using the guillotine to sweep them out. This fight's going to be at featherweight, so I imagine he's going to be a load. Even when Jaynes gets taken down, he's actually pretty proficient with sweeps, with get-ups. And Jaynes' a veteran. He has a lot of experience. He has great cardio. He has a fun style. He's a very dangerous guy. 5 submission victories. I like Justin Jaynes in this fight. I think he's going to be really big, explosive at 145. I think as far as striking goes, the pressure, the low kicks, the counter hooks of Jaynes will cause Tucker a lot of issues. Tucker is vulnerable in the pocket. Both guys have a chance to land a big shot, but I think Jaynes has just a little more power. He just has a little bit of a better style, a little more economical. He's going to be the better wrestler. I don't see Tucker being able to take him down. I don't see, Jaynes slowing down, and I think his style is going to wear on Tucker. And I think Jaynes is either going to get a first round or third round finish in this fight by knockout or a decision victory. So I'm picking Justin Jaynes to come in here and get another upset. Up next year with another really fun, really close fight in my opinion. Seen a lot of love for Wellington Turman, and he has been impressive so far in his UFC career. He's had 2 fights against 2 solid veterans, and he arguably beat Carl Roberson, and then he did defeat Marcus Perez in his last fight. At just 24 years old, he is a very good prospect, and he needs to go forward, be aggressive in this fight. In his fight with Perez, he did show some improved striking. He was closing the gap with some hard straights. Throws a nice front kick up the middle, and he will leap in with a left hook, and he has a decent overhand right. He will throw some kicks after he punches. He likes to throw a left hook, head kick combination. Good body kicks as well, but they don't really look super powerful, and he's just a little bit open and hittable to me. He's kind of stiff. His defense is lacking. He relies on offense to kind of hide his flaws. He's a Terminator, really good chin, and just kind of walks guys down, stays in their faces, mauls them, and his forward pressure really wore on Marcus Perez in their fight. Turman, he doesn't really have big power though. He only has 4 knockouts. Never been finished himself, so he is a guy with a good chin, like I said. And he's a grinder. He likes to use his striking to back you up to the cage, get the body lock, take you down. He likes to take the back from standing, just lean on you, wear on you. Strong in the clinch, and when he gets takedowns, he's a back taker. He's always hunting the back. He does have a few rear naked choke victories. Nice guillotine as well. And Roberson, he was able to get Roberson down multiple times, took his back, had him in some deep positions with chokes, but Roberson was also able to turn in and control Turman on Turman's back for a couple minutes, and Turman didn't look like he had a very good game off of his back. In this fight, I don't really think he's going to get many takedowns, but he is probably going to try for the takedowns, and he does have 7 submissions, great cardio, which is one of his biggest traits in my opinion, and he's going to be taking on Andrew Sanchez, who he kind of lost in a grudge match his last time out against Marvin Vettori. A lot of talking going on prior to that fight and after the fight, and he just didn't perform the best in that one. He has been up and down in his UFC career. He's had some good moments. He's had some bad moments. I feel like this is a kind of make-or-break fight for the trajectory of Sanchez's career going forward, because Sanchez, if he loses this one, I feel like he's always going to be a middling to low-level guy. But I will say he's been making improvements. His fight with Vettori was fairly competitive, and he's a pretty athletic fighter. He has good forward pressure, good fluid movement. He likes to feint. He comes forward, backs his opponents up. He uses decent boxing. He has a good jab, good 1-2. He'll throw nice 1-2 combinations, 1-2-1s. He has a nice check left hook, and when he can back fighters up to the cage, he'll land some nice multi-punch combinations. He'll attack the body. He likes to touch more with his punches and then try to mix in some power shots in between. He has some nice kicks, some nice front kicks to the body, some nice round kicks, question mark kicks, and he's pretty good at pulling fighters into spinning back fists. He's hittable himself, though. He likes to use a high guard to defend shots instead of moving his head or using footwork. He tends to just cover up against the cage, take shots, and he's susceptible to body shots. Marcus Perez really worked the body well in their fight, but I would say he's a durable guy, even though he has been taken out by strikes 3 times. That's mostly due to exhaustion, and he does hit hard. He does have big power. He is a fantastic wrestler, man. He's a 2-time NAIA national champion. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He hasn't been super active offensive with his wrestling since earlier in his UFC career, but if you go back and look at his old fights, he was able to take down Khalil Roundtree 6 times, took down Anthony Smith several times. He likes to maul fighters against the cage, slow the pace of the fight. When he gets on top, he does have good control, good ground and pound, 2 rear naked choke victories. His takedown defense has been perfect so far in the UFC. He's never been taken down. Wellington Turman is obviously going to test that. We haven't seen Sanchez off his back in the UFC, obviously, and I will say, though, he has improved his cardio. He paces himself much better now. And this is an interesting fight. Like I said, I see a lot of people are very high on Wellington Turman this week, but I think this is kind of a tough matchup for him. Turman, he likes to grind, get takedowns, push you against the cage, lean on you. Against Andrew Sanchez, I think Sanchez is the superior wrestler. I don't see him being able to just stall him out like that. He's going to need to strike more than usual. How he wins to me is the pressure, the volume, keeping Andrew Sanchez defensive. I think Sanchez is a cleaner striker. If he can get Wellington going backwards, use his feints, he's going to be successful. I think that he has the better boxing. I think he could catch Wellington in exchanges, and as he comes inside, I think he could catch him as well. I just don't know if Turman can win a striking fight with Sanchez. I don't think he's going to take him down. I really don't. Right now, I might switch this pick because I'm going back and forth on it, but I think the odds are a little bit, I don't know. I think this should maybe be closer to a pick'em fight. I'm going to pick Andrew Sanchez right now, but this is a pick that I might end up changing here. But right now the pick is going to be Andrew Sanchez via decision. In this next one here, we have a lightweight fight between Nasrat Haqparast and Alex Munoz. And Haqparast, he enters a sizable favorite again on the money line here. He's going to have a big experience edge, and it makes sense he's the favorite actually because he's had over double the amount of fights in Munoz, and he's had almost as many UFC fights as Munoz has had total fights. He needs to bounce back from that bad loss to Dober, though. This is a good spot here for him. He has a big explosiveness, big power, walks guys down, really good front kick to the body. He's always looking for that overhand left. Really good southpaw, nice feints. He closes the distance very quickly. He really has a nice overhanded straight left. I mean, that's a shot that he really looks for a lot. And when he can get opponents moving backwards, he'll land his jab, attack the body. He'll be pretty fluid with body-head combinations. At range, though, he really relies heavily on that overhand left and the front kick. He, pull counters well. His defense really isn't that great, though. He'll just back up at the high guard. He kind of tries to look to explode in time counters as he backs up. And, guys can kind of catch him as he's backing up and put more damage on him. Drew Dober really beat him up pretty bad, knocked him out. But Haqparast has killer instinct. When he hurts you, he goes for the finish, 9 knockouts. And he was knocked out for the first time in his career in his last fight, so have to gauge that. But he's a young guy. I think he's going to be able to bounce back from that pretty well. And he hasn't really shown up as grappling in the UFC, but I would say he's a little bit underrated as a grappler. Nasrat, he's been training with Marco Madsen, and he needs his wrestling on point to win this fight. Early in his career, he did use a lot of offensive wrestling. He would take guys down, smash them. In the UFC, he only has 1 takedown. And in his fight with Marcin Held, he was taken down 3 times. He got controlled on the mat. Marcin maybe isn't the greatest fighter, but he's a good black belt. He was able to get takedowns against the cage and in the scrambles. And Haqparast showed a really good sprawl. He got his hips back. He stuffed very easily. He's good at getting underhooks, framing away, getting out. But when Nasrat is going forward pressuring in the center of the octagon, he's really hard to take down. He was able to get a takedown of his own in the clinch in that fight. But that was ultimately a mistake. It led to a scramble, a leg entanglement. He got taken down. When Nasrat was on bottom in that fight, he didn't really do bad. He was able to regain guard, retain guard for the most part. He was able to kind of nullify Held on top. He stayed very calm. He defended a lot of leg lock attempts. And I feel like his takedown defense isn't terrible, to be honest with you. Held was getting him down, with jiu-jitsu scrambles a lot, not really with traditional takedowns. Munoz, he's going to be making his long-awaited debut. He's been out as well for over a year. And the last time he performed was, nearly a year. The last time he performed was October of 2019. He did get a victory over Troy Lamson by decision. And his most high-profile fight to date was his victory over Nick Newell on the Dana White Contender Series. He was supposed to debut in February versus Luis Pena, but an injury, has cost him 6 months here. And inactivity has kind of been a staple of his career. He's only had 6 fights in 5 years. Hopefully now that he's in the UFC, he's going to be more active. He is an athletic guy. On the feet, he likes to use a lot of movement. He switches stances. Primarily a southpaw, he likes a lot of one-shot attacks. He likes to shoot the straight left to the body, to the head. He'll throw an overhand left. He'll throw some nice lead right hooks. He has some heavy body kicks. He throws sometimes, though, he's kind of low volume, and he only throws one shot at a time. He drops his hands, and he can back up with his hands down. He usually relies on his wrestling to win in fights, but he did win his last fight purely with striking against Troy Lamson, who's another wrestler. Lamson, doesn't really have good speed, so he was able to counter him a lot, showed decent pull countering ability. He doesn't really have big power, though. He only has 2 knockout victories, and he's a strong grappler. I mean, he's a former Division I college wrestler. He's good at using his striking game to pull fighters into double legs, nice body locks. He'll duck under, take the back. On top, he isn't very dangerous. Doesn't really have the greatest top control either, but he's good at taking the back. He doesn't really put the hooks in, but he'll just ride fighters out. In his fight with Nick Newell, he was able to grind on him in that position, score points, and he will open up with ground and pound when he sees his opponents fading or hurt, but he only has 1 career submission. He just isn't super dangerous on top. He did show good takedown defense versus Lamson, but he did fade badly in that fight. He was visibly tired in the 3rd round, left a lot of opportunities for Lamson to touch that chin. He's still very raw, but he does have good wrestling ability. He's athletic, so he has some pluses on his side here. You could argue the one time Nasrat faced a grappler, he lost. The issue with that logic to me, though, is that Nasrat was making his UFC debut on short notice. He was still training at a different gym at that time that wasn't as good. And 2, how does a much better jiu-jitsu player with better top control, better jiu-jitsu, more dangerous than Munoz, held, he's also had over 20 fights at that time. Nasrat had less than 10. The roles are kind of reversed in this match. Nasrat is going to have the striking advantage here. He throws way more volume, just better boxing, better combinations. I think his forward pressure is going to be an issue for Munoz. If he can cut Munoz off, force him to fight with his back against the cage, I think Nasrat could get some big combos off and defend the wrestling in space. I think it's going to be hard for Munoz to take him down and keep him down. Munoz, he doesn't really chain wrestle or control guys on the mat too much. Versus Newell and Troy Lamson, large portions of those fights were contested on the feet. Munoz, like I said, also got tired in his last fight. If he comes out here with a wrestling-heavy game plan and can't keep Nasrat down, he could get finished late. If Munoz is effective with his wrestling, maybe it'll open up a striking, but I just don't see that happening. I think that Nasrat is too polished on the feet. He has good enough grappling to deal with a guy like Munoz. You guys know I'm not super high on Nasrat. I faded him versus Drew Dober, but I think he should win this fight. I do think it could be lined a little closer, but I kind of think it's Nasrat's fight to lose here. I think he has good enough wrestling, and his striking is just much superior. This one should be a good one here. Tim Means, Leonardo Staropoli. It should be a striking fight. Tim Means, he didn't really have a great performance his last time out. He even admitted that he was very emotional in that fight throughout the whole fight week, and went in there, kind of fought to brawl, took a loss there, got knocked out. And that's not a good look for someone that's 36 years old, that recently got knocked out by Nico Price, that got rocked by Thiago Alves. His durability looks like it's a little bit on the way down, on the decline. And he's facing a young, upstart in Laureano Staropoli, who lost his last fight, who's going to be hungry coming in here to come back, get the victory. Means more of a boxer, a guy that likes to get in close, use elbows, knees, dirty box. And his grappling game, I think, is a little underrated. I feel like maybe you should use that here, try to get takedowns, try to get it to the mat, and use that ground and pound that he has, because I think his ground and pound is actually pretty good. But Staropoli, he's more of a guy that likes to use a lot of movement, throw a lot of volume out there, not necessarily a power guy. Throws a lot of straight punches, a lot of kicks, keeps the volume high, melts people, takes them out eventually. Decent grappling, a well-rounded guy overall. He got a really impressive victory over Thiago Alves, where he just dominated him for 3 rounds, just out-volumed him, kept the pace, and just kind of toasted him. I feel like in this fight, he can kind of do the same thing. I think that if he's moving on the outside, kicking, keeping the volume high, he's probably just going to out-volume Tim Means to a decision victory. I don't know if he's going to be able to knock out Tim Means, just because Staropoli isn't really that guy. I don't think it means is necessarily like totally like if you hit him with one shot, he's gonna get knocked out type of durability issue. So I just feel like Staropoli will probably just want it more, throw more volume, make it a dogfight if he has to, mix it up if he has to, and just get a decision victory here. I think he's going to be able to get a win here over the veteran Tim Means, but not a super confident pick here, but I am going to go with Laureano Staropoli. Fuck, crazy, right? That we're getting this matchup. Kevin Holland, Joaquin Buckley, and for Kevin Holland, obviously was supposed to fight on this Saturday, man, and unfortunately Trevin Giles passed out in the locker room before the fight, or in the hallway when they were walking out. That fight got scrapped, so hope Trevin is doing alright, but really, tough break for a guy like Kevin Holland, and it's cool that he had this type of mentality to just jump on this card, didn't complain about it, and he's just fighting this week, and he's taking on a newcomer in Joaquin Buckley. And Joaquin, he's taking this fight on short notice, but he is fresh off a second round knockout to win the LFA title last Friday, so he's going to be in shape, he's going to be confident, he's going to be ready to go. And he's 26 years old, he's brash, he likes to scrap, he talks trash in there. It could be an interesting fight in that way. He's a very big, explosive, muscular, athletic guy, one-shot power. He likes to kind of fight low, use head movement, feints, cut angles, try to be shifty. Likes to shoot the straights to the body, to the head. He'll close the distance with some really powerful straight punches, with some big hooks. He likes to get inside, back fighters up and flurry. He has fast hands, short range power. He'll leap into range with hooks, with uppercuts. He'll throw some front kicks up the middle. Keeps good pressure on you, doesn't mind trading. But his footwork is choppy, he's hittable, isn't the best defensively. He could struggle versus fighters who can kick, like Kevin Holland. And he does have 7 knockouts. He can turn your lights out. He's been finished with punches one time himself as well, though. And he looks like a decent wrestler. He could time some nice level changes. Pretty solid takedown defense. He's hard to take down, especially against the cage. His jiu-jitsu is not even close to Holland's level, though he's really lacking in that area. I believe if this fight hits the mat, Holland could very easily find the submission. Buckley kind of reminds me of a smaller Alonzo Menafield. Short, compact, explosive, has power, can close the gap, but just isn't very skilled. His gas tank maybe is a little better than Menafield's, but he falls short in a lot of areas. And I just feel like Holland, he's going to have a big height reach advantage. He's going to have a big footwork advantage. He's going to be able to kick really well, I feel like, in this fight, and just keep Joaquin on the outside. I think that if he wants to get a takedown, it might be tough to take him down, but if he gets it to the ground, he could definitely find a submission. I just feel like maybe Buckley will make it competitive. Maybe he'll early on land some shots. Maybe he'll be able to get inside with his athleticism. But I just think as the fight progresses, Holland is just going to be the superior technician in there. I think he's going to be able to maybe get the finish, but I kind of feel like this might be a decision victory for Kevin Holland if he can't get it to the ground. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a knockout victory, but I'm going to pick Kevin Holland here. And here we have one of the best fights on the card. I mean, rankings-wise, skills-wise. Beneil Dariush, Scott Holtzman. Benny Dariush is coming in here. He's back on a hot streak now. He's won, I believe, 3 in a row. His last fight with Jakar Close was epic, man, where he got rocked, then he rocked Jakar Close with the overhand, knocked him out, and man, I mean, that was crazy. But everyone knows Benny is more of a submission guy, but obviously he has big power in his punches. He throws wild. He's willing to throw down, and his chin isn't bad, man. I mean, he did get caught that one time by Hernandez, but the more time that goes past, that looks like more and more of kind of an anomaly there. Holtzman does hit hard. I think that's kind of his only path to victory. I think he's going to have to touch Benny's chin and knock him out, because I feel like technically on the feet with the body kicks, with the head kicks, with the overhands, Beneil is more powerful. I think he is even more technical as well. He's fought the much better competition on the ground. Dariush all day. Dariush is the much better grappling guy. He's the much better jiu-jitsu player. If it gets to the ground, I could really see him getting a submission. Holtzman, like I said, he has a puncher's chance here, but I feel like Dariush is superior. I feel like he's just better in all areas. Holtzman is a older guy. He's 36 years old as well, so that's why I just don't feel like we see a lot of big improvements from him from fight to fight. Like, when he was fighting Jim Miller, everyone thought maybe he was going to take the step, run through Jim Miller, but ended up being a competitive fight of the night type fight. And you can't take nothing away from Scott Holtzman, man. He goes in there, he goes to war, has awesome fights, great durability, great chin, comes in there in shape. He goes in there to knock you out. But I just feel like this is the most skilled guy he's ever fought, and I just don't think he's on that level. I feel like Beneil is on another level than him. It's kind of like the Randy Brown versus Luque fight, where you got a guy that's been knocking off these lower level guys, these veterans, these tough, gritty guys like a Jim Miller or a Brian Barberina, but when they put him in there in the cage with a legit top 10, top 15 guy, I think they're just going to fall a little short. So I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush here to get a win inside the distance. Next here, I don't know about the placement on this fight, but Yana Kunitskaya versus Julija Stoliarenko. It's on the main card here. Yana, she had that disappointing fight last time to Aspen Ladd. She got finished in the third round. She's had a decent run at 135. She's going to be looking to go 3-1 now, and she's just a big girl for the division. Quick jab. Her kicks are okay. She'll throw a front kick to the body. She'll throw some nice lead left hooks, some nice round kicks to the body, some nice spinning kicks, spinning back fists. But I don't know, when she throws her punches, she drops her hand. She can get hit clean. She doesn't look like she really moves her head at all. And once she gets hit, she can get a little bit timid and back up. I don't know. She does a lot of reaching for the clinch. I just don't think she's that good, man. She does have 7 knockouts, fairly good chin. She's going to be the better, I don't know even, but she is a better grappler than striker. She's good in the clinch. She'll land hard knees to the body, to the head, good control there. She uses that to win rounds. She does a good job of getting that far side underhook, dopping her opponents right into side control. She has a good crucifix position, good head and arm throws, good body locks. And on top, she's pretty decent. Good job of just controlling, keeping a pressure on top. And she's also aggressive on bottom when she gets taken down, aggressive with her guard, good arm bars. She, will attack leg locks as well. But I'm not a big fan of Yana Kunitskaya, man. She's never really done it for me in terms of her skill in the octagon. She's been submitted 2 times. She does have 1 career submission. She is going to be getting a newcomer here in Julija Stoliarenko, or not a newcomer, but someone who's getting a second chance in the UFC. Stoliarenko, she lost a split decision on the Ultimate Fighter finale after going 1-1 on the Ultimate Fighter, got cut. But she was able to string 5 consecutive wins together. And she most recently won the Invicta title, and that got her back in the UFC. She's a dog, man. She's willing to walk through fire to get the win by any means necessary. She's been competing in Lethway, like in 2018, 2019, where it's bare knuckle. They allow headbutts, and she's the champion of Lethway, so she's a bad bitch, dude. She's really a dog for sure. She's super aggressive. She's a wild striker. She likes to close the distance with some hard straights, hard overhands, wild kicks. She has really nice elbows. She slices girls' faces open with the elbows. Her last match was one of the bloodiest fights in WM in women's MMA history, and she was able to slice open Leah Letson as well. She's willing to brawl, take a shot to give a shot. She keeps a very high pace, but she's very hittable. She just darts in with her hands down, no regard for defense. She is super tough, but she's been TKO'd twice early in her career, and I don't know. Her striking really isn't that good either, but I feel like she throws more and with more bad intentions than Yana does. And she's an armbar specialist. She's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, very aggressive, always looking for the armbar. She'll throw out flying armbars from very unusual submission positions. No issue going to her back, and she does feel very comfortable just pulling guard. She's going to be the better grappler here. I could see her hitting the armbar. She's finished 8 of her 9 wins that way. She's fresh off of a 5-round title fight where she did slow down at times, but she got second wins, and I do think she's the tougher of the two ladies here. Kunitskaya, she needs to work behind the jab, try to keep the stick out there, beat up Julija's face, throw front kicks up the middle, and just try to win that way. But she doesn't really have the greatest footwork. I don't think she's going to want to engage in the grappling either, so that takes away like half of her game in terms of the clinch control against the cage. Julija, she's going to be jumping in and out with the big wild shots with the elbows. I think she could potentially land some elbows, bloody Yana up. I think she could potentially get an armbar victory. I'm actually going to pick Julija here to get the upset. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just not a big fan of Yana Kunitskaya, so I'm picking Julija Stoliarenko to get a decision victory. Man, up next, Darren, Stewart, Maki Pitolo. Don't have a ton of interest in this fight, so not going to spend a ton of time on the breakdown, but Maki Pitolo, he's looked good at 185. In his fight with Justin Sumter, he looked very good, took him out. In his fight with Charles Byrd, he looked very good, took him out, but those guys are very low-level guys. I mean, Charles Byrd retired after their fight. He was coming off a long layoff, a lot of injuries. I don't think he's as good as he once was, and he still even kind of pushed Maki a little bit, took him down, put him through some adversity. But it was good to see Maki survive that. I think Maki has the cleaner boxing here. I think he throws better combinations. He's obviously really good at, touching, putting long combos together. Darren Stewart, he's more of a brawler, a mauler, someone that likes to use big punches, close that gap, get inside, dirty box, trade shots inside, throw big elbows, big knees, and he has one-punch power for sure. He can knock you out with one shot. In his last fight, very disappointing performance. He got grappled up by Bartosz Fabinski, taken down, controlled, and that was against a guy that was a 170-pounder. So that was a little bit of an embarrassing performance there by Darren Stewart, but I mean, it was on short notice. Stewart wasn't really getting ready for that type of fighter, so you can give him a little bit of a pass in terms of that. And Maki isn't going to be trying to take him down. I don't think it's going to be a stand-up fight. These guys are going to be trading hands. And I mean, I don't have a good read on this fight, but I'm going to pick Darren Stewart, and the only reason why is because I think he hits harder than Maki. And I've seen Maki knocked out more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. So if they're going to stand up on the feet, they're going to trade, they're going to brawl, I'm going to pick Darren Stewart to eventually just find a shot, hurt Maki, and take him out. So I'm going to pick Darren Stewart, but one of my least confident picks. Man, oh man, we got the co-main event. Really interesting fight. Chris Weidman, Omari Akhmedov. Like, oh, how the mighty have fallen, right? Chris Weidman, man, from the middleweight champ. Even in his last fight, he's fighting Dominic Reyes. Now he's fighting Omari Akhmedov. Man, he's a co-main event to Derrick Lewis. That's a hard fall there for Weidman, but I think this is actually, like, looking at this fight, this is a good spot for Weidman, man. I mean, he's going to be so much bigger than this guy. When you watch Omari's fights, he kind of likes to hang back, throw these big looping bolo counter strikes, and definitely has opportunity. I mean, if Weidman overextends or Weidman closes that gap hastily, or Omari could just somehow find that chin with one of his big overhand looping counters, everyone knows, Weidman's chin is degrading. He doesn't have a chin at all. He can get touched on that button, and, one time he can get knocked out. But, I mean, when you're looking at the guys that he's getting knocked out by, these are elite world-class guys. Omari, I mean, he couldn't sniff the jockstrap of any of those guys, so it's tough. Omari, he doesn't really have power like that either. I mean, he hasn't knocked, I think he has one knockout in like 2013 in the UFC. Other than that, all decision victories. On the feet, Weidman is going to have a big reach advantage, big height advantage. He's cleaner with the boxing as well. Like, Omari just throws wild looping shots, and he has a decent grappling game as well offensively, but obviously in this fight, it's going to be all about finding that counter, or finding that perfect shot, touching Chris's chin, and, getting a knockout, getting 2 checks for Omari. For Weidman on the feet, he obviously has to be careful, especially early on in the fight. He has to respect that power, know that his chin really isn't as good as it used to be. He has to, stay long with the jab like he likes to do, throw these long straight punches, be out of range for the counters, throw kicks up the middle, stay long, time a takedown, get it to the ground, and take this guy out. I mean, we saw in Omari's last fight, Ian Heinisch was able to take him down, take the back. If Ian Heinisch is taking you down and taking your back, Weidman is going to take you down and finish you, man. And Weidman, I don't care what people say. I mean, he still has some of the best wrestling in the division. His single leg is one of the best single legs in MMA history. When he takes you down, he has really good underrated jiu-jitsu, really good top control, really good back takes, really good arm triangles. He'll attack really nice Kimuras. He's a good fighter, man. He's still a really good fighter. I think he's better than Omari everywhere. He has better cardio. He's the bigger man, better striking, more technical striking, better wrestling, better jiu-jitsu. It's just the chin, It's just the chin issue for Weidman. I think he's confident. I mean, I think that he thinks he's going to go in there and get a big victory. And just on paper, I like this matchup for Chris Weidman. I feel like he's going to be able to go in there, hit the single leg, hit the low ankle pick, get the takedown, get on top of Omari, tire him out with the top pressure, hit an arm triangle, hit a rear naked choke, finish the fight. So I'm going to pick Chris Weidman here. I'm going to pick Chris Weidman to come in here and get a submission finish victory. And finally, we're here at the main event. Derrick Lewis, Alexey Oleinik. Crazy fight. Contrasted styles completely. We got the knockout artist in Lewis taking on the submission artist in Oleinik. We got the crafty, more technical guy that wins fights off of, skill versus the, super explosive, athletic guy that wins fights off of power and athleticism. So, completely contrasted styles here. When they're on the feet at any time, Alexey Oleinik is going to be a big trouble. I mean, he's so much slower than him. He's super aggressive and wild, closing the gap himself. So, he, has a chance, obviously, to hurt Lewis. Lewis is hittable. Lewis has been hurt in multiple fights. Alexey's aggressive. He throws big overhands, big uppercuts, decent slipping and ripping ability, and really good pressure. Really awkward style on the feet. I mean, he's crouched low. He's moving his head. He has, very awkward counters from weird angles. So, it's like, he's kind of a little bit hard to deal with on the feet. But, obviously, here with Lewis, if he gets hit on the chin by Lewis or gets touched hard, he's going to get knocked out. And he tends to be very hittable. He takes shots to get inside, takes shots to get his game going, and you don't want to take shots against a guy like Derrick Lewis. But obviously the game's going to be won here with if Alexey can get in there, get the takedown, and get the submission, or if it's just Derrick Lewis doing what Derrick Lewis usually does, where he's able to just lay there, wait for the time, and explode up to his feet, and tire these guys out, ultimately find a knockout at some point during the fight, because this is a 5-round fight. So I don't see it going 5 rounds. I think it's going to come down to if Alexey could go in there, get an early submission victory, take his back, get a rear naked choke, get him in one of those Ezekiel's, get it side control, get a scarf hold. I mean, if he could do that, if he can get some sort of submission here, then he's going to be winning early on. But I think as the fight goes on, second, third rounds, I think both these guys are going to get very tired. But it's much easier to throw punches than it is to throw or to wrestle, man. And I feel like Lewis is going to be able to kind of, when it gets sloppy, if both these guys are very tired on the feet, throwing wild, Oleinik's wrestling is kind of not as good. It's not as quick. It's not as set up as well. I just feel like Lewis is probably going to be able to find that kill shot somewhere and knock him out. So my pick is going to be Derrick Lewis here. I think it's going to be by knockout. But this is another very close fight. I think it should be lined closer. So I think the value is on Oleinik here in terms of a bet. But my pick is going to be Derrick Lewis by knockout. And as far as the most confident pick goes this week, that's going to be Youssef Zalal. The parlay of the week is going to be Beneil, Dariush, and Youssef Zalal as of now. So make sure to stay connected. Check out everything that I'm doing on this channel on Odds HQ. I'll probably be dropping a Bellator breakdown as well. And yeah, so I might change some of these picks. Might give out some different betting advice, things like that. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. And like always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Put down there who you're betting on, who you're picking on, what you agree with, what you disagree with. and I'll make sure to comment, respond to every comment that I can. Usually I respond to every single comment, so make sure to put a comment down there. I'll respond to you. I'll say what's up, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.